Anyway, last night, so I'm sitting there, I'm having a nice glass of mud water, believe it or not, before I went to the gym, and it comes on the news, and there it is. I couldn't believe this. A 6-year-old kid, by all accounts, from what I'm hearing, this little kid was throwing a tantrum, being a naughty little girl, but unfortunately, that's what happens. Children like that at 6 years old are not in check of their emotions. They can't handle them. They have tantrums. They fall on the floor. And the school calls a cop and arrests the girl, puts fucking zip ties on her and puts her in the back of a police car. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what are we watching here?
Yeah, it was really bizarre. The video itself, we'll play some of the video in a minute. It's actually, as a parent, for me, and it's so not on brand for us to be having these fucking conversations because we do sound like normal like newscasters. It's like, it was just haunting. The sound of this little girl was, and it was though. I heard the sound of a little, because they go to put the zip ties on her. I guess the girl's being, whatever.
Why zip ties? Fucking zip ties. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we're not controlling a terrorist here. They're not getting the guy that just rappelled up the side of One Life Fitness in the last episode. Okay, they're getting a little 6-year-old girl that's been a madam. A little 6-year-old girl that needs a stern talking to, needs her dolls taken away, her pram taken away, locked up, whatever the punishment's going to be. She does not need zip ties. Fucking zip ties. My God.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess they wanted to emulate her being arrested. They didn't. Now, the story is they didn't actually arrest her. They put her in the police car, then they let her come back in. I guess she must have been acting up, and the principal, they have police that patrol the schools. So I guess, teach her a lesson. They were like, well, the police are going to take you away now. And the little girl just starts breaking down, being like, please don't, please don't. And, I have a friend of mine who was like, yeah, dude, it's good. I feel like, kids, they get away with too. I'm like, dude, you got to understand this, okay? Number one, you have a kid who's 6 years old. They're in this formative stage of their life where, who fucking knows how much damage that could really do. Putting that it's a traumatic experience. I've been arrested. The first time I got arrested, I was like put in handcuffs. I was maybe 18 or 19 for smoking weed in New York City. And it was fucking traumatic. I almost cried. I remember being in a thing being like, if my boys weren't there, if I was alone, I would have cried unquestionably. No questions asked. Now, for a little girl, you can imagine how much that affects. You don't know where you're going. You hear about jail. You hear about bad things. And I don't know, but it was a black girl, black principal. The policemen were Hispanic. I'm just assuming it was like more of an urban area. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. But it's like, I'm assuming her perspective already is sort of skewed as to what the police do. And now maybe programming this girl to who fucking knows where her life now goes.
It's a slippery slope. You're in there. Next minute, she's affiliated with the gang. She's got a face tattoo. You know what I mean? She's involved in a little bit of petty drug dealing around the place. She comes out of there. She's not a reformed character. She hasn't been, what's the word I'm looking for?
Rehabilitated.
Rehabilitated, man. Right about now. She hasn't been rehabilitated. No, she's gone down the other way. Of course, we're being silly. It was just shocking. I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh my God. So I'm hearing now that the policeman that did that has been fired. And again, I do feel sorry for that guy as well. Yeah. Even though it was too much. I don't know if somebody should have lost a job over it. I guess they were trying to teach a lesson. I guess they were trying to show tough love, which does work. And to your friend's point, the one that you said you were talking to, I do feel that in this day and age, people are too soft on children. I'm not saying they need to be beaten. I'm not saying they need to be held accountable. And accountability is definitely more and more absent these days. But still, taking a young girl, throwing her in the back of a police van. I mean, my God, if that was my daughter, and I'm not trying to sound tough, I'd have lost my shit.
Yeah.
100%. I don't know if I'd have got there and they were putting my daughter in the back of a van like that, I would have definitely,
I'd be in the back of the van.
I'd be in the back of the van. And I'm not trying to sound tough, but I'd put my hands on that policeman.
There's no question.
You get your fucking hands off my daughter right now, this second. Fucking give me those things, cut those ties off. Shame on you. Go fuck yourself. And then it would have been me that got arrested.
Oh, for sure, dude. There's no way. I mean, it's just you with your kid. You just see red. Your job is to protect them, good or bad. We've talked about this plenty of times. My mom used to be the first person to come into the school, even though I was a fucking asshole and I was regularly fucking up. She'd be the first person to defend me. She'd beat the shit out of me at home, but she'd be the first person down there, calling out the teachers, calling out the school, so, and I get it. And that's a good quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I had an important text there. No, 100%. And I feel like any parent in any situation is going to do whatever they can, whether it's legal or illegal. You know, if you need to help out your child right then and there, I'd certainly blur those lines. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I'm a criminal, but come on, you know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do. When I was a kid, my mum and dad, they were very, very different. The school, because I was a little shit when I was a kid, you know, I've talked about this before, and they were always getting called into the school. And my mum would go in there and she'd join in. So like the headmaster would sit there and start tearing a strip off me, saying he does this, he does that, he's rude, he's often late, he doesn't do his homework. You'll notice, by the way, none of these things were that bad. They're not that bad. You know what I mean? Just typical little shitty kid stuff. Yeah. And my mum would sit there, join on. She'd be going, oh yes, and he swears at me, and he doesn't tidy his bedroom, and he hasn't made his bed in weeks, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, mum. They already think I'm the devil as it is, you know. And that would be my mum. My dad, on the flip side, he'd come in and he'd threaten to sue the school. He would have my back no matter what. He'd be on his feet. He'd be calling them names. Mr. Cesarak was a Polish. He was the head of the upper school. Mr. Cesarak was Polish, and obviously, you know, the story goes that we're Polish aristocracy. My dad's calling him a Polish peasant in his office and all kinds of stuff. So to his face, he would have their back. But as soon as we got out of the school and in the car, fuck me, he'd beat the crap out of us. You know what I mean? But I respected that. At least in front of them, have my back. But then when we got home, it's like, right, listen, you can't act like that. You can't do that. I am sick of coming into the school. So
it's a united front. The dad, mom, dad, whatever it is, you're the leader of your family, and it's a united front. And a good leader is going to get his team's back, right? And it's not, you know, and that's sort of the way that I look at it. I really do think it's a commendable quality. This little girl, I don't know exactly what happened. I know her grandmother was a person giving the statement, which leads me to believe that her parents probably aren't in the picture or aren't in the picture enough. If you look at this little girl, if she's acting out that way and she's 6, parents aren't in the picture, you know, what do you think? You think it's this little girl's fault? You think putting her in handcuffs is going to fucking help the situation? Or do you think this little girl needs a hug? You think she needs a story to be read to her? Do you think maybe she needs some fucking love in her life to where she's not, you know, whatever, lashing out in whatever way she is for attention, love, anger? There's something there, and putting her in fucking handcuffs and putting her in the back of the car and scaring her is not helping her. I love to look at the numbers, because I bet you once somebody's put in cuffs, whatever the percentages, are that much more likely to be arrested again, and they're that much more likely to get in trouble again. I bet you there's a chance you're putting this girl down on a really bad path.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Listen, I don't know what those numbers are, and we'll take a look at the video in a second. But yeah, you're right. I mean, as you say, it was the grandma. That does allude to the fact that maybe the parents aren't around. So therefore, that alludes to also a possible cause for the bad behavior, the lack of discipline, and all the rest of it. And as you said, you know, just dealing this girl an extra shitty circumstance isn't going to help. Now, of course, we're assuming a lot of things here. Who knows? Maybe she's fucking living in a beautiful full mansion somewhere.